This is Delivery Notes episode 3. This is going to be episode 2, should have been episode 1, and we're now recording episode 3 before episode 2 has even gone live on the internet. So I do things a little bit backwards at times, but here we are featuring Richard Mole from Same Day Courier Network. Now, Richard and I have been, I think we've known each other quite some years now from, I think I was one of the early sign-ups onto the Same Day Courier Network. And
Correct.
as owner of Couriers TV, we've been reviewing your platform for some years to see what we thought about it and to tell other people about the platform. But I think for now, I'll hand over to Richard himself so he can explain more about it in detail. He's the best person to tell you all about it. So here's Richard.
So, Stuart, thanks for the introduction. Richard Mole, Same Day Courier Network. Believe it or not, where you've just mentioned about being one of the early members on the platform, and we've been talking for quite a few years now, it's not far off a decade, believe it or not. So we are on our 8th live year of having Same Day Courier Network, SDCN, out in the marketplace. So as you'll know, and most people in the industry know already, SDCN, Same Day Courier Network, is a transport trading exchange platform for couriers and hauliers, predominantly across the UK, but we are open for all European transport companies as well. We can actually cover the tech can actually cover worldwide. So, but at the moment, obviously, the focus is across the United Kingdom.
So you say that tech will work worldwide. So if I had a company right now in America, I could just get on the app and start selling them and exchanging loads?
Could do. The only downside to that, of course, is we haven't really got any membership base. We have a lot of inquiries, believe it or not, from America. But as we haven't sort of officially launched over there, it's not something we're pushing. We'd need a team. We need to get it sold and marketed, etc. out there. So at the moment, the focus is on the UK, moving into Europe. So we do see European companies on. Actually, we do see European loads posted and taken. We've had some classical guitars brought back from southern Spain to the UK in the past. So we do see European work, but predominantly 99.5% of the activity over the last 8 years has been UK loads to and from the UK.
Well, I mean, that's quite an interesting thing that you say with the American side of things. That you say you need a team, somebody to really promote it over there and push the brand, because as
it's massively scalable. The platform, the tech that we've built on is it's fantastic. If people really sort of delve into what we've got and what it can do, I mean, it can go anywhere. To be honest, if we were going to launch it across the US, we'd launch it separately to what we've got over the UK, because you don't really want people in the UK seeing loads across the pond and vice versa. But that's a thoughtful process down the line. But at the moment, predominantly we across the UK, but again, massively scalable. There's nowhere we can't take it.
Well, I mean, if you're looking at things maybe 6 to 8 months down the line, my brother, who obviously he lives in America, is actually a US citizen now. He's been there that long. His current company, like a form of closure at the moment, they're reshifting their operations. So come middle of next year, he will effectively be out of work. So if you need somebody to...
Well, I never close doors. I only try and open them. So there's a conversation to be had down the line.
The state of the industry right now, I used to do this as a feature on Couriers TV a few years ago. I used to start every new year off doing a state of the industry survey to get people's feedback of how people felt about the industry, people who've been in it a long time. Where do you think we are and where do you think it's really going? I mean, we obviously know the players that are still around. Like, obviously, your main competitor, CX, is still going and has made a few updates this year. They've also, as far as I'm aware, have pushed the prices up again this year. So,
significantly. So as a marketplace, first of all, in the transport industry, I mean, I speak to thousands of people on a monthly basis in transport. I think the general consensus, most people seem to be down on their figures. There's a big fight for work. There's a big push for winning work. Saturated marketplace to a degree. There's a lot of people at the moment, and more people coming into the industry looking for less and less work, it would appear. But we're always having ups and downs and peaks and troughs, and it's the nature of most businesses, a lot of businesses. And transport has always had its peaks and troughs. Notoriously, back in the day, the first quarter generally was always the quietest. It was the same in another industry that I work in, which is transport recruitment, as you're aware, and that was always the quiet period. Over the last few years, that's been one of our busier periods. So sometimes it's hard to forecast. Things can change. But I think with all the political uncertainty, there's quite a few crises around the world at the moment, with Ukraine, with Israel, Palestine, etc. There's all the uncertainty around the British politics, around the American politics, with elections, with the new budget that's coming out. There's always lots of factors like this that will have a big impact on a lot of industries, and the transport certainly isn't immune to it. So at the moment, I've seen a significant drop in available work being posted on SDCN, which is quite frustrating. But my understanding from talking to people is that seems to be across the board. We're just waiting for peak to kick in and for that to kick off. If I had a crystal ball, I'd love to tell you what's going to happen next year, but I don't. I'm not smart enough to guess it. But at the end of the day, transport is essential. Everybody will always need transport. So I'd like to think that we can come out strong on the back of this.
Yeah, I mean, that's one thing I think as an owner driver myself, one thing I think's really knocked this year, and I've got no evidence. I've not done any research to prove this. I've got no facts behind me to back this up. I've just got my personal feeling of things. But the election in this country being where it was, I mean, obviously most elections we've had in the past have been May time. You usually get a budget in March. Then when it's been an election year, the election is usually around May. And it being in the July, I think, has really thrown things this year. And then people have been hanging on. It feels to me like business has hardly moved from the summer until this budget came out, whether it's because of, this is personal opinion, but I believe that this government's had a shocker so far. I don't think any government's landed in, not in my lifetime, any government started and had such a dramatically bad effect on society of the way people have felt about society for such a long time. And
I don't disagree. I don't tend to engage too much in politics. I mean, as you mentioned before about opinions and rather than facts, and of course, life is built upon opinions. We all have opinions.
yeah,
I think it's essential that everybody respects other people's opinions, even if they disagree with them. But yes, I think what's happening politically here and the negative impact on businesses across the board with this budget, I think is unfortunately, I think we're going to see some casualties on the back of it.
yeah, and it feels to me like a lot of people were hanging on, waiting for this first budget that we were going to bring out to see just how devastating it might have been. Mm-hmm. And I mean, it was only last week, wasn't it? Was it last week or the week before? I can't remember when the budget was now. 2 weeks ago, and all of a sudden, I've noticed more jobs happening, more work suddenly exploding into life, and it's like. So everybody, we're all businesses waiting to find out what was going to happen to them before they pulled the trigger on new purchases, new orders. It just seems so strange that, and we've all held on so long now. Hopefully now this will mean the rush to the end of the year will be dramatic, and everybody can make a lot of money and do a lot of work, and we can get back.
There's a nice big kickstart now, and we'll start seeing it going forward. Haven't necessarily seen that kickstart into life just yet, but let's hope the next week or two brings what we're hoping it will.
I really hope so, because I mean, like I say, me personally, it's not been I was doing quite well up until the election. Up until July, things were going quite well for us this year, and I think we really hit it difficult since July. I don't know whether it's our customers in particular who've been very uncomfortable with the way things have moved and not certain where they were going to be going with business. But it's usually I've noticed over the years, July and August for me do go quiet, but I can usually guarantee the first day of September, everything comes back to life, and it didn't until the fourth week of October. So
it's been somewhat delayed.
Yeah, definitely.
So where are you moving forward at the moment with Vango? How are you finding the industry?
Well, I mean, that's one of the things right now. I think I mentioned this to Ben for Shed of Cargo to Go in my first episode, that life's tough right now. I've been doing this over 12 years now, driving. Obviously, when you're the driver, the owner, you've got to do all the admin work yourself. You've got to do all the lifting yourself. You can't shy out of any jobs because there's nobody else here to handle any of the work. and I'm feeling burnt out right now. I'm feeling the weight. I mean, my back, I think, has been injured from all the lifting over the years. I've probably never lifted anything properly in my life. When you say bend at the knee, I don't think I've ever picked a box upright ever when I've been lowered in a van. And it's you can get away with it for so much. But now I'm in mid-40s now, and I think my body's saying I need a break. I need to take a year off or something. So if I could guarantee pallet work for myself for the next year, I'd probably be fine. But you can't do that in courier work. You can't guarantee what your next customer is going to be providing you with. So I'm still plodding along, but I am looking at certain changes in the business right now, whether I take a bit more time off from driving and spend a bit more time on the website side of things. The Couriers TV side of things has been magnificent right now. It doesn't earn a tremendous amount of money, but the interest it's getting, the people I'm connecting to through it, has been incredible. I mean, I never saw this happening when I first set it up in 2017, I think it was, that we'd have, I can pretty much guarantee 80, 90, 100 people on the site a day for something which started out as just a blog. So
we often send people, actually, direct people to Couriers TV, certain questions that we get asked, especially with things around rates. It's very difficult for me to try and advise anybody on rates because we're not a courier company. We don't run parcels. We just facilitate the platform. And I don't believe it's right for me to sit there and say to anybody, well, you can earn £1 a mile or £2 a mile or whatever the going rate is. Generally, what we try and advise people to do is speak to the posting members to see what the market expectations are. And of course, Couriers TV is a good place for us to direct people to.
Yeah.
But if I turn around and say, well, I believe the market expectations for rates are A, B, and C, then of course that can always be held against you at some point. But saying, well, you said I could earn this, you said I could earn that, and I know other sites do publicize rates, expected rates, and advise on rates. But I think anybody that's going into the courier industry, I mean, really as a platform, I see that we are there to benefit existing couriers. We don't sell it as a platform for couriers to come on board and build a business and start from scratch. And that's not sort of our domain. We're here to help people that are established, whether you're new into the industry or whether you've been in for 12 years. But once you're operating as a courier, you've got the correct insurances and you've preferably got some of your own clients. That's something that we always try and advise to people as well. Then the platforms will work fantastic for you to kill off dead mileage, reduce the empty mileage. Every time the wheel is turning, you want something in the back of that vehicle. And I think there's a massive expectation in the industry at the moment that people will get full rate on every single job that they do. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying they don't deserve it, because everybody deserves the rate that they run for. But that's not really what platforms were designed to do. I mean, if you're taking a load from a third party, then that third party is going to be in the market to make a profit as well. So I know there's a very big stigma in the marketplace and a lot of negativity around the word backload at the moment. But trading platforms really were designed more as a backload site than anything else. And I know that's very big and brave of me to sit here and say, because I know there's a lot of negativity around it in the marketplace. And I know our competitors do sell it as a platform to people from outside of the industry to get into the industry, because you can build a whole business on the back of having the membership. Really, I think it's there to support existing people, especially people that have been in the marketplace for a long time, to make sure that they are not running back empty. So if you're based in Manchester, as you are, and you're traveling all over the country with your clients, it's going to be impossible really for you as an owner driver, as a one-man business, so to speak, as a courier, to sell your courier service nationwide across the country. So if you're delivering up in Dundee or down in London, for you to have contacts in every town or city will take you a very long time to build up. So having a platform for you to pick up work to head back to Manchester is fantastic. But I think it's sensible that we always remember that these platforms are often going to attract backload rates because there are people that will use them for what they were originally designed for, which is to reduce that empty mileage to maximise those profits. So if you're going down to London and you've got £500 on the job to get you there and back, but there's a job from London heading back up towards Manchester on the way that you can pick up another £150, £200, then that's putting the £500 as your profit on your job, because that £150, £200 is paying for your fuel there and back. So basically, it's about trying to add profits. It's about trying to increase the profits that you can make on the runs that you're already doing. And I think this is where the marketplace has got a little bit more difficult, because it's now heavily saturated with people that don't have any of their own clients and only use platforms as their only source of income. And again, this is not how we sell SDCN. That's not what it's about for us. But I get it. As a subscription-based business, the same as our competitors, obviously, it's about having as many people on there as you can to increase what your profits are. But we are trying to do things a little bit differently. We're trying to just attract the actual courier market, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So, but yes, we'll keep you posted on that as we go. But we're 8 years in. We've still got a long way to go. But I feel that we're gaining more and more support now from the industry on the whole. There's a lot more of all sizes businesses that are taking a much bigger interest in the platform now.
I mean, this is
yes.
everything you've touched on there about the rates and stuff is one of the, like I say, I've known this for years. It is the big issue. I see it in all the groups, all the forums, everything that people talk about. And the one thing I think seems to be really misunderstood is, I think people look at it, I think they see every transport app as an Uber model system, where obviously if you drive for Uber as a taxi, you go and buy your car, you get your Uber sticker on the door, you're effectively driving for Uber, and then you get all the money, and Uber takes a tiny slice of it as a percentage.
I was in Croatia actually over the summer, and that percentage I was talking to one of the taxi drivers is a lot higher than I thought. Right. I was curious on why so many of the taxi drivers were handing out their own cards and asking you to call direct rather than going through the Uber app. The problem is, obviously, the Uber app is exceptionally easy to use. To be fair, it hasn't really worked for me in this country, but across Europe, it's I spent a lot of time in Portugal with our developers. Yeah. I was having some family holiday time in Croatia this year, which was lovely. And Uber is just fantastic across across these places. I haven't really had the need or the ability to use it so much here in the UK. But no, I think you're absolutely right. I mean, as you know, SEC, we don't take any cuts off the jobs or anything along those lines. It's just a small subscription. Yeah. But yeah, it's been touted to me by many a large posting company about just doing a pay-as-you-go, scrapping subscriptions and just charging based on the work that people post and people take. I mean, there's lots of ideas floating out there, and every bit of feedback is always welcome, and we'll always take it, look into it, and see what we can do with it. Yeah. But no, I think you're absolutely right. I think a lot of people they'll call themselves an SDCN driver or a CX driver, but they're not. They're an owner driver. They run their own business, and they're literally using these platforms as a source of finding work. I mean, I got a lot of bad negativity, as you see sometimes across some of the social media groups, as do our competitors. Sometimes, I mean, someone's just left a review. I've not had one job in 2 months. I've looked through the quotes of some of these people, and they're posting £2, £3, sometimes £4 a mile for a small van job, which you're just not going to get through a platform. If you want those sorts of rates, you have to source your own customers. Yeah. I mean, let's be honest, most companies posting the jobs won't be charging those sorts of rates anyway. So they're never going to be able to sell the work at those sorts of rates because they're going to be making a massive loss. So I think sometimes just a bit more common sense being applied and thinking, right, okay, I'm in London. I've got to get back to Manchester. There's a job there. If I go in and quote £400, am I going to get it? Probably not. I'm going to drive back empty. And you see this all the time. I'd rather drive back empty than take that and make somebody else money. But I don't quite understand that myself, because if I'm driving from London to Manchester empty and there's an option for a job there, let's just say it was, £400 would be your front loan price. If I can get £200 on that, that's me in profit for the day.
Yeah.
I've got my £400 to come down and do the job, and then another £200 to go back. For me, that's good business sense. But again, it's always going to be difficult for people to pick up full rate jobs, because there's always going to be people in the area looking for backloads, and that is the saturation levels of the industry. Yeah. So supply and demand. There's more people looking for less work currently, so it's always going to be difficult.
I mean, I know this for myself. I think it was before the summer. I posted a few jobs on the platform for people to pick up from us. There were prospective jobs. I hadn't, on a couple of them, I hadn't actually had the booking confirmed with my customer at the time. He just wanted a price so that I could try and get the job through to the customer. I realised that this is why people were overpricing. The people that were bidding on my work at the time were misunderstanding the situation. I think they were thinking that I'm the end customer, and I'm trying to give them the work direct. But obviously, I was the middleman at that point. I had a customer. I was working for them. They needed a job I couldn't supply a vehicle for, so I needed to sub it out to somebody. So I had a guideline price I was putting through to my customer, and I was going to give, obviously, a majority of that to whoever could supply me the vehicle. And the prices that came in, I thought, obviously, there was one guy I kept knocking the price down on, and he replied back to me saying, about the third or fourth time he replied, he said, "Last chance, mate." And I thought, you're trying to make it like you're doing me a favour, but you're still over the price I would be charging my customer.
Mm-hmm.
So, you need to understand, I'm another transport company. I'm not the end customer.
I was sat with a large transport company yesterday. We were sat in. They have membership on both the main platforms, being CX and SDCN. And at the time, yes, there were more jobs on our competitor platform, which we know have always been transparent, have always been honest. We are behind in that form at the moment, but growing, that's the main thing. But we sat there and we were discussing the difference in levels of the jobs. I mean, they're mainly a posting company, but they do look for backloads themselves for the vehicles. Yeah. They've got a large fleet of vehicles, and those vehicles will range from the small van up to Arctics. So we sat there and we looked at it. And there were, I think, 2 or 3 jobs in question across the country that were suitable for them to quote on. And I think there was about 7 or 8 on our competitor site that were suitable for them to quote on at the time as well. And to be perfectly honest, they didn't get one off either site. So multiple bids going on all of them, and sensible bids as well, and they didn't get one. And again, that has a lot to do with the levels. And our competitor site, we're looking considerably busier, but we filtered down on the other side. So they put some filters in and filtered down. And what you were saying then about looking for prospective prices was interesting, because they had the same job posted 7 or 8 times. So exactly the same. Going from and to with the same vehicle, the same notes. And we looked at them and we were like, well, obviously what you've got here is a company that's gone out to multiple companies looking for prices. Yeah. So it's literally, and it's all the big players posting the job as well. So it's, a lot of big names posting it. So you're thinking, right, okay, so loyalty within the industry, etc., quite often isn't there. It's just a case of, right, send an email or pick up the phone, send it out to 7 or 8 companies, whoever gets back quickest with the best price that can move it the quickest, they get the job. Yeah. And that's basically what we noticed on the platform yesterday, was the same job being posted multiple times by multiple companies.
I've seen that many times over the years. It's well, I mean, I suppose I don't know. I've got to be careful about the way I say this. I know some of the background of how it works for certain things. I know that a couple of companies I'm aware of do the JCB runs. Those companies get approved to be DHL subcontractors for DHL Same Day or DHL Express. I can't remember which one it is. I think it's DHL Same Day that they become expediters or something like that. They get these. So you've got.
So they then just send it out to all the preferred suppliers on the contract list.
That's it. DHL send it out.
Couriers, Pink Floyd Couriers, whoever it might be, and then they all put them on the platforms looking for the quotes.
That's it, because and this is the daft thing. The number of middle organisations you've got in these things, I feel like ringing up JCB myself and saying, do you realise how much money you're paying for about 3 or 4 people not to even do anything with this job, just for the one-man band owner driver to pick it up and take it? Because I've done it numerous times over the years. I mean, I will not touch JCB now at all. I hate the jobs. There used to be a couple that were all right. I don't know if it's still the same, but this is going back a few years now that...
I used to read a lot on the forums that people won't take the work anymore because they can get stuck there for 2, 3, 4 hours.
Oh, yeah, quite easily. You used to go to DHL heavy products at just off the A50 at Utoxeter there. That was fairly easy most of the time. if you're in a van, you could pretty much get in. There used to be two drop bays you can get into fairly easy. I don't know if it's the same now. This was going back, like I say, about 2016, 2017, I think it was last time I went there. But the Earth Movers, when you used to go to the Earth Movers depot and the one next door to it, I can't remember what the one next door was. They were both, it was one road, went down into the middle of the two depots. And all the trucks would just have to line up in the middle road, and you'd get divided whether you were going to the left side or the right side. But the queues were horrendous. And, you know, as a van owner driver, you'd ring up your office and say, I'm in a queue, I'm going to be here hours. And I used to get this one officer say to me, wait there, we'll get on to somebody. And I don't know if they ever did actually ring anybody or whether they just pretended to ring somebody. But that company I was working for at the time, I never got any waiting time for being in that queue. They'd always say, we'll try and sort you some waiting time. Never got it. So in the end, I just said, I'm not going to JCB. If you're not going to pay me waiting time, I'm not sitting in that queue and waiting there all day long for nothing.
Fair enough as well. Absolutely right.
Yeah. And the worst one is the head office, the roaster. I mean, it's a fantastic facility to go to. They've got a lake outside and a fantastic looking place. But the organisation of that place is horrendous. You go into a transport office and they give you or they used to, again, this is going back 7 or 8 years maybe now, and they used to give you a pager and they say, right, go and sit in your vehicle. When the pager goes off, come back in the transport office and we'll sort you out. And then they just tell you to go around to part of the building, no idea how to get there. There's roads veering off left, right and centre through all these warehouses, huts and what have you. No clear parking, no clear signage of where you were supposed to stop at the time. There was a red light traffic light system that you were never sure whether you were supposed to stop because I stopped and then the truck went straight through it. So I thought, I hate that place.
Well, precisely. I mean, I've not had the, I won't call it the pleasure. Well, I will call it the pleasure just to be polite, but I've not had the pleasure of going. And I think on your words, I'm quite happy about that. But
I'll leave that to all the newbies to the industry. Anybody who comes in wants to get a JCB job, go and find out that one, and you'll. That's definitely adventure for if you're new to the industry.
So talking to newbies, obviously Couriers TV, from what I see, is quite geared up to help people understand the industry, give advice to people joining the industry. Yeah. If you had to pick one of those items, if you had to pick one bit of advice to give to a new incoming courier just starting up, what would that be?
Oh, crikey. You know,
I realise I'm interviewing you here,
I just think I wasn't expecting to have to answer things myself, but be very, very careful. There are some, should we say, dodgy operators at times in this industry, and
unregulated and can attract some of the wrong people.
Yeah, I got my fingers burnt badly when I first started out, and that is, hopefully it'll be out by the time we finish recording this. I'll have got episode 2 out, which should have been episode 1. I do talk a little bit about what first happened to me when I got started. Got driving for one company who was a friend of a friend, and I thought, he'll be fine to drive for because, I kind of know this person through somebody else. And I think we've mentioned his name before. I won't mention his name today, but he turned out to be a real fly-by-night disappearing act. He didn't pay for any of my first work I did for him. I did a month's worth of work, and he didn't pay for any of it, and then shut his company down, did a runner from the unit. I couldn't get any of the money claimed back through the courts because they had no way of tracing his address or anything. I would also... I'm trying to think back to the early days of what the real worst things were when I got started, but I'd say... The easy thing is to tell people what the best things to do is to, first of all, get the right equipment. If you're going to, obviously, you probably need a van. If you can do bicycle courier or you can do motorbike couriers, but most people are going to be in vans these days because 2 wheels tend to be a difficult way to do it. You're going to get soaked and freezing cold in winter. So assuming people have gone in a van.
There's availability of loads as well. I mean, I get asked that question quite often. What type of van, what size van do I need to work on your platform? And my response always has to be similar. I can't tell you what van to go and buy. I mean, obviously, the smaller the van, the lower the costs and the running costs. The bigger the van, the more availability you're going to have on loads. If you've got an extra long wheelbase van, you can quote for work right the way down to the car loads. If you've got a car, you can only quote on the car loads. So obviously, the bigger the vehicle, the more opportunities there will be for you.
That's that's one of the sayings I used to have. It was, you can always put a small load in a big van, but you can't put a big load in a small van. So
absolutely correct. Absolutely correct. So if I was answering that question myself as well, I think one of the things I would suggest that people do is honesty. I think reputation is key, and obviously honesty is key to a good reputation. So one thing that we hear about all the time is our competitor platform have an absolute blanket no co-loading rule on the site. If you're caught, you're kicked off, and so on and so forth. But there are many a time when a co-load actually is suitable for A, the person that's posting it, and B, the person who's taking it. So we've taken a different tack on that, and it's quite simple. If you're going from London to Manchester in an extra long wheelbase van, but you've only got a parcel on board and all the time in the world to deliver it, and there's another load that's going, phone the company that's posted it, tell them what your route is, tell them what you've got on board and where you're going and what you're doing, and they will appreciate the honesty, and they will either say yes or no. So yes, you are chancing the fact that you might not be able to get that run, but if it's a AOG run, for example, dedicated, can't have anything else on board because of a particular type of good or whatever it might be, you don't want to be in a position where you're breaking that rule. However, if you are doing that run and it is just a parcel or a pallet that can go when you've got any time up to 5 o'clock, say, to deliver it, then it makes perfect sense that that's on your vehicle and helping you maximize the profits on a route that you're already doing. So we facilitate the platform. We don't own the industry. So I don't believe I've got the right to turn around to you, Stuart, and say, you cannot co-load, otherwise you get kicked off the site. And I don't believe I've got the right to turn around to you as a posting company and say, you cannot post a load and tell people they can co-load. It's absolutely banned. So I think it's all about sense and sensibility, and I think it's all about common sense, and I think it's all about honesty. I think unfortunately, because of rules that are in place, that just encourages people to lie, break them, because they have to make the money up, right? They have to earn the money on the routes that they're doing. So if there's a job there and somebody says you can't co-load it, it's just a pallet, but you still can't co-load it because that's our rule, then unfortunately, I'm going to suggest that more often than not, that driver is going to say, no, it's fine, I'm empty, hide a parcel underneath the front seat, put it on and co-load it anyway. So it just discourages communication and honesty, and then it encourages lies. I'm stuck in traffic. I've had to divert. I've got a flat tire. I'm waiting for one of my other vans to come and relieve me of it. All the excuses that we've all seen and heard over the years. Honesty, clarity, and professional courtesy, I think, would be
lots of communication. Be clear about things. Like if you're stuck in traffic, I got told off once for ringing an office to say I got stuck in traffic. I was on the M62 in winter, and the M62, as anybody in this area knows, it used to get horrendous. The closer you get to sort of Bradford in the hills, the dips there, you go down one side, you can't get back up the other because there's a queue going up the other side.
My wife is a Harrogate lady. I lived up in Harrogate for a while, so I know the area pretty well.
And I did my usual thing. I always thought it's best to ring ahead, to ring the office to let them know, the situation. So I rang the office to say, there's loads of traffic on the M62. I'm going to be running late for this job. And the guy said to me, well, why are you stuck in traffic? I said, what do you mean, why am I stuck in traffic? He said, well, can you do anything about it? I said, are you serious for a minute? There's only one way to get to Leeds, well, apart from going through the back roads. And when I set off, this route was clear. I can't do much about the fact that there's traffic on it now after I'd already got on the route. If you want me to turn off and go through the back roads, it'll take 3 or 4 hours to get to Leeds through, the back of Brighouse or wherever. And I thought, I'm doing the right thing here by being honest and clear with you. But it bit me on that occasion. But if it was somebody driving for me or a newbie starting out, I'd still definitely say, keep people updated, tell them the situation. If you can't do anything about it yourself, then it's not your problem. It's...
Regardless of the bite, you've done the right thing. You've done the right thing, and that's what matters. You've communicated, you've been open, you've been honest, and that's key.
And he wouldn't have been happy if I'd have been late and hadn't rung him. So,
precisely. Forewarned is forearmed.
That's one of my favourite sayings. That is, but you can't always prepare for people like that who maybe he was just having a bad day and just had a chip on his shoulder that day.
It happens.
It does. Now, something else I was thinking of, I put a quick note down. The peak season, as we record this right now, we are heading into peak season. I think we covered it a little bit at the start. We talked about the government's changing the budgets. Things happen. You said this year's been a bit quiet. Do you think it's about to be like normal? Do you think we're going to get a late November rush and Christmas and people can get the Christmas bonuses out of the industry?
So again, if I had a crystal ball, We'd all be millionaires. But I really don't know on this occasion. I really do not know on this occasion. I hope so. I think so. I'm gonna put it out there and say I think that we will have some kind of a rush for sure. There always is. Whether it's going to be to the same level as some of the previous years, I don't know. I do think with everything that's happening out there at the moment, with costs going up, national insurance going up, everything that's happening, a lot of good people are being affected in the pocket at the moment. And I think people will be spending less. I think people will be more worried about rising bills and so on and so forth. So I don't know. I don't know whether people are going to spend the money to the same levels. But I guess we'll find out over the next 6 weeks.
And given the fact that we are currently in November 2024, for anybody who's listening to this at this time, is Same Day Courier Network going to do any kind of Black Friday deal for membership, or is it not the kind of thing you want to encourage?
We do quite often have some promotions actually to bring people on. I mean, we've actually got one on at the moment with, I think it's 20% discount on the biannual and the annual subscriptions. I mean, as you know, we're the only platform that offers a monthly roll-in subscription, and it's £39 a month plus VAT. So it's a really low-cost platform, and if you use the platform correctly, it's very easy to make that money back and some profit. It's you haven't got to pay thousands of pounds up front. And I guess our sort of our chicken and egg situation at the moment, our double-edged sword is the platform itself is fantastic. The tech that it's built on is fantastic. It's user-friendly. It's attractive and easy to use. But it doesn't matter how good the platform is and what the platform can do. It's all about members' activity. So this is where, as the challenger, things were always going to be more difficult for us, and have proven to be more difficult for us, and still are. So basically, you are challenging something that people have been using for over 20 years, 25 years, I think. So we're the only competitor really that's been in the marketplace, that's put up a bit of a fight and is well, I won't say nipping at their ankles anymore. I think we're halfway up the shins on the way to the kneecaps, hopefully. But we're the only ones that have really sort of been able to have something else and retain something else in the marketplace as a true B2B transport trading exchange platform. But ultimately, it's going to come down to user activity. So we have to try and have the right balance when this is where it's difficult. So we have to have enough posting members posting enough work to retain the guys on the monthly subscriptions, on the taking the load side, without having enough of the guys taking the loads and quoting, I'm going to call it industry expected rates, rather than some of the rates that we sometimes see, to keep the posting members posting. So it's always been a little bit difficult where you'll have a volume of taking members and then they don't renew, or they cancel the subscription because they haven't been successful in the first week or 2 weeks of using the platform. So by not retaining them on, we're struggling then when the posters are posting to have enough industry expected quotes going on to the jobs. So then they feed back into what they've been using for the last 20 years or whatever it might be. So, I mean, there's a lot of positivity. There's a lot of, I'm going to call it excitement. There's a lot of people that really want to see and be a part of SDCN building up. But I know that I'm asking a lot from people to say, look, I need to stay on there and I need you to keep posting loads. If you do that, we're going to retain and continually grow the member base of people that quote and take the work. And vice versa. We need the people to stay and actively be using the app and quoting properly on the jobs to maintain the posting members and obviously bring more in. So at the moment, to be perfectly honest, it's a little bit of a leaky bucket. So there's a lot coming in the top, but we still got a bit too much going out the bottom. And that's me being open and frank to the nation, telling everybody where we are and what the issues are. But I've always been open, I've always been honest, and I always will be. So that's where we are. I think if people came to me and said, look, if I'm on the platform, I can benefit you because I've got vehicles all around here. We want to be quoting work. Then I'm more likely to turn around and say, I'll tell you what, I'll do you a Black Friday type of deal and bring them onto the platform. Because it's benefiting what I'm trying to do, what this is all about. I mean, we've got running costs on the platform, which people don't really understand. I mean, at the moment, between developing, ongoing developing, maintenance, hosting, server housing, backup, just on the IT side, I mean, we're around £20,000 a month. So, people need to understand that this isn't just a build a website, put it out there, and that's it. I mean, the ongoing build costs and everything else are absolutely crazy, which is the reason why not many have come maintained and stayed.
Yeah.
So I'm quite lucky. We don't have any outside investors. We don't have any money owing to anybody other than myself and my other businesses, of course. So there's no one to please. So I don't have to go out there and have crazy high prices and people physically buying work, but we have to cover the cost of running something that is of this level to keep in the marketplace. So, and again, with deals, I mean, it's all about fairness and loyalty to a degree as well. I mean, what I don't want to be in a position of doing is you've got people that are paying subscriptions and then you've just got people that aren't paying. So
Yeah.
I'm happy to look at deals. I'm happy for people who are going to come and support the platform to be supported back and have some benefits back. So, 100% yes. But we have to be fair. We have to be open. I mean, Stuart, you're a fine example actually of this, because your membership price is of the early days. I mean, as you know, the membership cost of SDCN now is £39 a month plus the VAT,
Yeah.
where yours is considerably less than that.
It is.
But we said and we promised at the very beginning that all the people that come and are part of building it up, first reward, you're going to stay on that subscription for as long as we can possibly keep you on there. And we've maintained that. The same with the people on the second tier subscription which came in, which was the £20 a month plus the VAT. So it wasn't sustainable. We couldn't keep offering that out. Otherwise, we wouldn't be able to maintain the platform there for everybody. But again, we've kept those promises. We've said exactly what we said we would do, and we've continued to do it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, our priority will always be to support the industry to the best level that we can. And we fully recognise the fact that if we abuse the industry and become the hated platform, so to speak, and people don't want to work with us but feel that they have to, then I'd feel that we failed. I want people to use the platform, be a part of the platform, like the platform for what it is, and who we are running it as well. So we'll always be there to try and do the best that we can. Reality is we can't do the best by everybody. There's always going to be somebody that's upset or doesn't like us.
I know that fact I've tried the same myself.
Absolutely.
Over years. You can't please everybody, can you? I mean, I've obviously delved into, over the years, a lot of apps and a lot of platforms and a lot of websites that, this is going back to 2012, 13 when I first got started myself, and it turned out there were a lot of websites and apps back in, well, not so much apps, there were more websites back in the day.
Yeah.
Before apps were really as powerful as they are now. It just seemed to be a game of people would set up a website, claim that they had work, throw some random listings up on there, and then you pay your fee to join, and then the website either shut down or you just realise it was fake. Or
there have been some more recently than 10, 15 years ago as well.
Yeah, probably I've probably not even tried those, but there's one particular one I know of that I've had some run-ins with, and that used to charge a fee. Apparently they don't right now, but whether the platform has any value in it beyond that free membership, I don't know. Everybody needs a competitor. You need somebody there to challenge you in life, and so if there isn't somebody to stick around and give it to the other people, the other people get away with everything, and we can't have that in the industry really, because otherwise the prices will be locked to whoever feels like charging them. There's nothing there to balance it out.
I'm really pleased you mentioned that, actually, because that's a regular conversation that I have with all sizes of members, from large posting members to owner drivers, purely just taking loads off the platform. Exactly the same sort of conversation is, I truly believe it's in the best interests of the industry to have more than one platform, to have a competitor to the largest platform, because you want service levels. You want to be able to get hold of people when you've got problems, whether it's you haven't been paid, whether it's someone hasn't turned up for the job, whatever it might be. You want to be able to get hold of somebody, and you want somebody to step in and mediate and try and help with the situation. We do, as you know. And you also want there to be a fair limit on the membership costs. You're using this platform to enhance the profits of your business. So you want those membership costs to be sensible, to be fair. So we're trying to do all these things, but the reality is we need the support of the industry as much as the industry needs the support of us.
Yeah, definitely.
So we work together, and as I say, get a lot of negativity. I get a lot of unfriendly responses, let's say, on social media platforms. Not all of them, just one or two. Twitter's not a particularly pleasant place, and Facebook isn't overly pleasant at times either, as you know. But LinkedIn, I find a much better platform when it comes to professional courtesy, respect, just some basic respect.
Yeah.
You don't have to like me, you don't have to like what we do, you don't have to like the platform, but a little bit of courtesy, a little bit of professional courtesy goes a long, long way.
I mean, this is one of the things I couldn't understand when I started Couriers TV. Obviously, what I've tried to get across with Couriers TV is that the basis of it, the information to help drivers get started and to hopefully grow their businesses is all there for free. I don't charge anybody anything for it, but the comments and remarks I got within some of the courier groups online at times and on social media, people really didn't like the idea of me. I mean, I wasn't trying to claim I know everything in this industry. I know a lot. I've done a lot of work myself, and I still do a lot of work myself, but I don't know everything. But what I have learned, I'll try and share to other people to help them learn the things that they haven't experienced yet. But some of the remarks
you've met a lot of great people. We've met a lot of good people, a lot of great people in the industry over the last. Well, we've been doing this for a decade. We've been launched for about 8 years, but over the last decade, I've been speaking to a lot of people in the industry, and met some fantastic, some real gems. But unfortunately, there are some complete and utter opposites to those gems as well. So yeah, it's a sad state of affairs. I mean, I've had somebody calling up to try and cancel somebody else's membership, pretending to be them, which is one of the reasons why any cancellations, because we don't contract the monthly, so people do come and go at quieter periods and busier periods. It's not great for us, but it's what we said we'd offer the industry, so I want to be able to do that for as long as we can. But yes, I've had people trying to cancel other people's memberships purely to try and remove some competition from the marketplace. So that's the reason why people cancel. We always ask them, please email in from the email address that you have ready on the platform, just so we can eliminate things like this. But you do get some unscrupulous people out there. But as I say, focusing on the positives, there's a lot of great guys as well.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I've met a lot of people through this industry, and like I say, you got connections that I'll probably know for years to go, even if I do give up driving myself. But like I say, sometimes you just can't believe when you're trying to do something that seems positive and good for everybody, that somebody comes along and says, "Oh, I hate what you're doing. You're rubbish. I don't like you." This, I don't know what.
Some people want nothing more than to see somebody else fail. Unfortunately,
and again, maybe they were just having a bad day. Maybe they just need somebody to vent on, and we were those people on that day that got vented at. But you can only try your best again, and what happens.
And again, people don't have to like what you do. No. They don't have to agree with it, but they also don't have to be disrespectful or rude.
No.
But I don't think we're going to fix the world overnight, Stuart. That's for sure.
No, but we can come back another time and try again and give it another go.
We can indeed. Well, it's been great to talk to you. And like I say, if you've got any questions, I know you're an active member on SDCN anyway, but if you've got any questions or you need any help with the platform, obviously it goes without saying, just give us a call, let us know. We'll always do what we can.
Definitely. And so anybody listening to this right now who's thinking, do you want to have a look at Same Day Courier Network? So where's the best place to go? Have you got a phone number they can ring, or straight to the website?
Either or. So phone number is 01202 511 559. I had to think then. Look, off the cuff. And the website is www.samedaycouriernetwork.com, or of course through Couriers TV. Because I know that you have plenty of representation of SDCN on Couriers TV.
Yeah, it should be very easy to find. You're in our top 10 list.
There we go. So that's another easy route for people to go and get some information and have a look. But email is info@ samedaycouriernetwork.com, which is a better avenue sometimes than the phone because we don't have a great deal of people on the phone. So with the emails, we can get back as soon as we possibly can. But yeah, any advice, any communication that people want to have with regards to SDCN or anything else in the transport industry, drop us an email.
Brilliant. Oh, and one quick thing I'll drop to any listeners right now is that the review they might read on Couriers TV about Same Day Courier Network is a slightly old review. It's not been redone since you updated the app this year. So
yes, of course. So
you should take the review with a pinch of salt, and things have been updated, improved since we did that review. So. And we will...
To be fair, it was a fairly good review anyway, Stuart. So thank you. It was a good review at the time. Obviously, and again, we don't have a problem with anybody presenting any negatives on there because we build the platform based upon feedback. So who better to build a platform than the people that use it?
Yeah.
So we're always asking for feedback. And again, if it's negative, we ask for people to put it across in a polite, professional and courteous way. But yeah, I mean, feedback. Welcome. Bring it to us, and that's where all the improvements, all the new app design was based upon what people wanted to see. So yeah, keep the feedback coming.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I've got to get around to that new review because it updated massively when you redid the app, and there's a lot there to unpick now that's not in the old review. So I've got to get around to that. But like I say, it'll have to be. I think I've pretty much missed 2024 now for reviewing it. So I'll do the 2025 review of SDCN.
Happy with that? Sounds great to me.
Brilliant. Thanks for joining us today, Richard, and thanks for your time.